Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back and it is Tuesday, June 16th. And it's 10:56 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I've already uploaded one video and it is being processed even as we speak. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick up from where I left off because I've got a ton more stuff to go through. So, and I'm still wide awake, and so I might as well just do another video. All right. Well, let's get at it. Now, I did have some people to thank in the last video, but of course, since then, no one has donated, so I don't have anybody to thank in this video, but I'll thank you all anyway, because there's many of you that support this channel on Patreon and do send contributions via coffee and some even mail contributions. So thank you very much to you all, and I appreciate every one of you. I really do. Now, I'm just picking up from exactly where we left off. We left off with this jaw-dropping one right here, and indeed it was. So let's just go on here and we'll go to the next item. 6 eBay executives. This is one of those things that's just strange. 6 eBay executives, now this is from yesterday, 6 eBay executives and employees charged with sending threats, bloody pig mask to Natick couple. Now, how strange is that? I thought this was very strange, and no, it doesn't kind of fit into any of the things that we normally talk about, but hey, sometimes it's good to shake it up a bit. So, Boston, CBS, 6 former eBay executives and employees are facing federal charges after they allegedly led a cyber-stalking campaign against a Natick couple they believed was critical of the company in an online e-commerce newsletter. U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling said the eBay employees' harassment included sending the couple disturbing deliveries that included a bloody pig mask, a box of live cockroaches, and a funeral wreath. The employees also allegedly sent anonymous threatening messages and traveled to Massachusetts to conduct covert surveillance of the victims. This is way, way beyond the pale, and it's strange. You know, surely they've gotten negative, reviews before. I don't understand why they would go to that. I'm sorry, my cats are hissing at something, so it drew my attention away momentarily, but I'm back. Hey, so anyway, yeah, it just very, very bizarre. I don't know anyone that would resort to such tactics, and there seems to be something else going on here, because this is just a little too strange to be believable. I don't know why they're hissing at each other. I've never actually seen them do that before. But they're just like people. Sometimes they get in a little tiff. Anyway, it was a determined systematic effort of senior employees of a major company to destroy the lives of a couple in Natick, all because they published content company executives didn't like. Sorry, my cat just jumped up. James Abaugh, 45, of San Jose, California, eBay's former director of safety and security and former eBay director of global resiliency, David Harville, 48, of New York, were among the 6 charged Monday. Also charged were Stephanie Pop, 32, of San Jose, Stephanie Stockwell, 26, of Redwood City, California, Veronica Zeke, 26, of San Jose, and Brian Gilbert, 51, of San Jose. Each is charged with conspiracy to commit cyberstalking and conspiracy to tamper with witnesses. Pop was eBay's senior manager of global intelligence. Stockwell was the company's manager okay, I don't know why they put that twice, manager of Global Intelligence Center, GIC. Z was a contractor who worked as an intelligence analyst within the GIC, and Gilbert was a senior manager of special operations for eBay's global security team. Gilbert is also a former police captain. So this is what they sent. It's the face of a pig, it was bloody, and it says the former eBay employees are accused of sending this bloody pig mask and this book about death and grief to a Natick couple. And that's by WBZ TV. my cats are acting extremely strangely, making weird noises. I don't know what the issue is because they're in the same room with me, so I don't see anything that should be upsetting them. Anyway, maybe they're upset at this story. Who knows? Okay, and Lelling said the Natick couple serves as editor and publisher for an online newsletter that covers e-commerce companies. According to prosecutors, members of eBay's executive leadership team followed the newsletter and took issue with the content and anonymous comments under the stories. In 2019, 2 members of the leadership team allegedly sent or forwarded text messages saying it was time to take down the newsletter's editor. One of the messages said the group wanted to crush this lady, referring to the editor. When asked if further charges could be filed against other executives, Lelling said the investigation is active and ongoing. 2 unnamed executives are included in the complaint that had roles above bow. I don't think I would characterize this conduct as rogue because, as seen in the complaint, the directive to do something about this goes pretty high up the chain within eBay, said Lelling. The couple then received a host of deliveries aimed at intimidating them. These deliveries included fly larvae and live spiders, a box of live cockroaches, a sympathy wreath on the occasion of the death of a loved one, a book of advice on how to survive the death of a spouse, pornography mailed to their next door neighbors but in the couple's names, Halloween masks featuring the face of the bloody pig and the pig fetus, which was ordered but after an inquiry by the supplier thankfully was never sent, Lelling said. U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling on cyber stalking charges. People were encouraged to knock on the couple's door anytime, day or night, said Lelling. All of the employees were fired by eBay following an investigation. Lelling said the company cooperated with investigators. For a while, they succeeded, psychologically devastating these victims for weeks, Lelling said. The result, as alleged in the complaint, was a systematic campaign fueled by the resources of a Fortune 500 company to emotionally and psychologically terrorize this middle-aged couple in Natick with the goal of deterring them from writing bad things online about eBay. eBay said it was notified in August 2019 about the alleged conduct of its employees and launched a comprehensive investigation. All of the employees involved were fired in September 2019. eBay took these allegations very seriously from the outset. Upon learning of them, eBay moved quickly to investigate thoroughly and take appropriate action. An independent special committee formed by eBay's board of directors said in a statement, the company cooperated fully and extensively with law enforcement authorities all throughout the process. eBay does not tolerate this kind of behavior. eBay apologizes to the affected individuals and is sorry that they were subjected to this. eBay holds its employees to high standards of conduct and ethics and will continue to take appropriate action to ensure these standards are followed. And of course, along with that apology from eBay, a little money might make things better. Because could you imagine being sent a box of live cockroaches, which you open? Yeah. And what about spiders? Who likes spiders? And fly larvae, a bloody pig mask. They even tried to send the couple a pig fetus, which thankfully they didn't. And could you imagine if someone in your family dies and you get sent a sympathy wreath? I mean, it would make me feel very unsafe and that I was being watched. And not to mention people knocking on your door all day, all times of, at all hours. And, and being sent a book about how to deal with the death of your spouse when your spouse is very much alive. Unbelievable. Part of the investigation included what role former eBay CEO Devin Wenig may have had in the incident. The internal investigation found that while Mr. Wenig's communication were inappropriate, there was no evidence that he knew in advance about or authorized the actions that were later directed toward the blogger and her husband. However, as the company previously announced, there were a number of considerations leading to his departure from the company, eBay said. Now, think about this. I hope they throw the book at eBay because if they get away with this, then companies, you know, feel like they have a, you know, have the permission or whatever to go ahead and do this to intimidate customers who may write bad reviews or what have you. This is unprecedented as far as I know. I've never heard the likes of anything like this, and it's absolutely sickening because I can't even imagine what this couple went through. Yes, actually I can, but we won't get into that. All right, so let's go on now, and let's look at this little piece of filth. The Daily Caller said, and this is regarding New York City Mayor, you know, de Blasio, despite encouraging and participating in mass protests, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says, we're not going to allow people to take the law into their own hands in regard to cutting the locks off playgrounds. So, yeah, they still have the playgrounds locked up. They're still encouraging people to stay at home. They're still sending out contact tracers. But, you know, protesting is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Absolutely fine. And this by Graphics Cartoons, but taking the law into their own hands when rioting and tearing down public statues and destroying police cars and precincts, that's cool. Evidently so. Unbelievable. And this, we've already touched on this before, 3 New York Police Department officers intentionally poisoned with bleach at Manhattan Shake Shack. Company responds, why would you want to be a cop in a city run by a Democrat mayor who emboldens behavior like this? That's a good question. I wouldn't. And I think that's probably why people are resigning en masse from the police department, because they have no support or backup at all. It's very, very sad. I feel very, very sorry for the police in this country. I really do. It's not fair. Yes, there are bad police, but there's an awful lot of good ones too. And you know what? In any profession, you're going to find bad apples. Any profession. I mean, there's lots of bad doctors, but you don't see people killing them. 3 New York Police Department officers intentionally poisoned with bleach. Yeah, lovely. And yeah, and now they're saying, oh, no, we don't find any fault with Shake Shack. I guess the bleach just jumped in there by itself. And this by John Cardillo. New York Police Department finds no criminality by Shake Shack workers in case of sickened cops. Well, this is odd, as most places don't bleach paper cups. And see, he says this, I guess the bleach jumped into the milkshakes on its own. It must have. It must have. Unreal. Well, are you ready for some more? Sure you are. Okay, well, oh gosh, I think I'm going to skip this because it's a little bit sickening. Well, maybe, okay. Okay, you talked me into it. Judd, 17 arrested for child pornography, include Disney employees, nurse, and underwear ingester. Tell me, how does someone get to the point of ingesting underwear? Do they start with just a small square? Oh, I'm full, I'm stuffed. I don't know. But Polk County, Florida, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judge detailed the arrests and charges of 17, interesting, 17 suspects, including Disney and hospital employees accused of downloading or distributing child pornography featuring children as young as a few months old. That's sickening. These folks are deviants, Judge said. Well, absolutely. The sheriff went on to detail a number of the arrests, most notably 2 Disney World employees, a nurse, an undocumented immigrant, a 49-year-old Winter Haven man, and an IT specialist, Judge said, like to purchase and digest soiled underwear. Purchase and ingest soiled underwear. I wonder, soiled in what way? Like skid marks, or I don't know. I don't even like to think about it. But yeah, he ate them. He ate them. Now, I don't know if they cut them up into little pieces so they'd be more digestible. Well, what do you do? Just stuff the whole thing down? I don't know. I don't know. Wonder if you can get syphilis of the tongue, of the throat, of the esophagus, of the stomach. What do you get from ingesting soiled underwear? I don't want to know. You can watch the press conference in the video player above. No, thank you. No, I think I'll pass. The takedown, dubbed Operation Guardians of Innocence, V, resulted in a total of over 1,400 felonies filed against the 17 suspects. And look at these guys. They look like a group of winners. Wow. I could see they wouldn't readily get a woman or a man or anything. So they probably have to prey on the defenseless because, well, look at them. Now, I'm not talking about, there are people that, I know people that probably people would say they're unattractive, but to me, they're beautiful people because they have a beautiful spirit. And you really can see that shine through people. And you look at them and you think, they're not probably the most attractive person in the world. And, and I'm not saying I am, absolutely not. I'm just saying that there is a difference because, the most beautiful woman in the world can open her mouth and immediately she's ugly because of what comes out. Same thing with men or anyone really, their spirit shows through and you can see whatever's in them, that nasty, whatever it is you can see it, shines through. I wouldn't want to come across any of these men at all. I mean, look at the grin on this guy. Imagine having that sick grin while you're being, you're in your police photograph. I mean, anyway, deputies say that child pornography included thousands of photos and videos depicting babies, toddlers, and children being forced to engage in sex acts. Among the notable arrests were 2 Walt Disney World employees. Judge said a search warrant was executed in Davenport, Florida at a home shared by 32-year-old Justin Hazan and 36-year-old Arlandris Sims. Hazan reportedly told detectives he works at Hollywood Studios as an operator on the Millennium Falcon ride. He reportedly admitted to downloading and possessing child pornography. He was charged with 15 counts. Hazan's roommate, Sims, also works at Disney as a food runner at the Animal Kingdom Resort. He was also arrested and charged with 25 counts of child pornography. When we went to the house, listen to this. These people, when we went to the house, we went after Arlandris Sims, Judge said. We also found out that his roommate from Disney, Justin Hazan, also was looking at child porn. Detectives didn't know that. So during the investigation, our detectives found it kind of humorous. Arlandris actually said, "You're doing it too." Another Davenport man, a registered nurse at Osceola Regional Medical Center, was arrested and charged with 5 counts of child pornography. Judge said 38-year-old Edgardo Cancela, I'm not sure. I know I'm probably mangling these names, but, forgive me, was reported for suspicious actions on Facebook. Judge said Cancela lives at home with his wife and 2 children, aged 10 and 13. I hope those children are taken out of the home, unless he's sent to jail. And did his wife know about it? Because if she did, take the children, put them in a home that will love them and protect them. Okay, Stephen Lilly. No, I think this is the underwear ingester. Stephen Lilly, a 61-year-old Lakeland resident and former Tampa Electric employee, was charged with 100 counts of child pornography. Judge said Lilly told investigator he has only been viewing child pornography for the last 2 years. Right. I don't know if I believe that, Judge said. How do you wake up at 59 years old with a wife and 2 adult children and think, gosh, I think I'll go to the room and start looking at child porn, especially if you're charged with 100 counts? Neighbor Molina, a 45-year-old Lakeland resident, was found with child porn of victims as young as 18 to 36 months old, Judd said. Additionally, Judd said detectives discovered Molina has been in the country illegally for the last 30 years. Landon Ulrich, an 18-year-old Lakeland resident, he must be the underwear eater. An 18-year-old Lakeland resident was arrested after detectives found child pornography on his computer of victims as young 6 months old, Judd said. Ulrich was charged with 200 counts of child pornography. Jonathan Richards, well, he might be the one. I don't know. One of them eats underwear. Jonathan Richards, 27, was charged with the most counts, 300, Judd said. Richards lives at home with his parents. His parents must be so proud. They must be just so proud. Judd wrapped up the press conference highlighting the January arrest of Jose Ariza. Ariza was charged with distributing and attempting to purchase child pornography. Judd said Ariza also liked to purchase soiled underwear and ingest it. You know what kind of things get in soiled underwear, right? Judd said. Sometimes you think you're passing gas and you're not. You can't trust a fart when you're over 60. He was buying these things and ingesting them. Did you hear me? Judd said Ariza is an IT specialist who has a master's degree. Someone with a master's degree should know better than to ingest underwear. I guess when he's in prison, you know, people could send him underwear with lots and lots of skid marks because he deserves it. Anyway, yeah, Judd said none of the child victims were located in their investigation, but they're not done seeking justice. We need to know where these babies are so we can rescue them, he said. So let us know. Yeah. Yeah. No comment there. All right. See, I'm glad that they're arrested. Honestly, I mean, that's great. That's wonderful. But the damage is done. Where are these children? I hope they're still alive. It sickens me. We are literally destroying our most vulnerable members of society. The most vulnerable that we should be protecting. You know, not even animals do this to their young. Animals would never do that to their young. Anyway, all right, let's go to the next item, shall we? Oh, you're going to like this. Mayor de Blasio calls in sick day after marching in mass protests, but refuses COVID-19 test despite symptoms and telling New Yorkers to get tested. Well, now I can understand why his daughter is the way she is, and I will never get that picture of her sitting on a subway showing her nether regions. I'll never get that image out of my head. I could use all the bleach in the world and it won't go away. Schizner, who has repeatedly told New York residents to get tested for the coronavirus, even if they don't have symptoms, and in fact made free testing available to everyone, took a sick day Monday after marching with thousands of protesters on Sunday, and he is still refusing to get tested for the coronavirus, the New York Daily News said. The mayor woke up under the weather. He's taking the day to recuperate, and we should be back to normal programming tomorrow, spokeswoman Freddie Goldstein told the paper. We don't believe it's COVID related. Well, no, naturally not. Wouldn't it be justice if, you know, Cuomo and de Blasio, after sending COVID patients to nursing homes, it would just be kind of ironic if they got it. I mean, it was Cuomo that did it, but, you know. I don't know. Gothamist reported that the office said de Blasio was suffering gastrointestinal symptoms. Poor guy. According to the Daily News, the mayor had no intention of getting a CV test and that he hasn't had one since the beginning of the pandemic. Okay, well, don't tell me to get one then. If I was a New York resident, I'd be like, are you kidding me? You get one first. You're the example. You go first. Goldstein said, based on what he is experiencing, the mayor does not believe there's a need to be tested. No, he's probably too much of a a wuss to get tested because it might hurt a little up the nose. But as the outlet noted, the city's Department of Health includes gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea as reported symptoms of COVID-19, and an April study out of Stanford University said loss of appetite, nausea, and diarrhea were reported among a third of COVID-19 patients. Well, there you go. Let's go back. There's more. And, oh yes, and here is this that I mentioned earlier. Let's look at this and look at all these people. Yeah, I'm sure they're all wearing masks and social distancing, naturally. New York City instructed contact tracing team not to ask about protest participation. As public health officials warn of a new surge in CV cases following mass protests in densely populated cities, the New York City mayor's office has instructed its contact tracing team not to ask tested individuals if they participated in crowded demonstrations. No person will be asked proactively if they attended a protest. Avery Cohen, a spokesperson for Democratic Mayor Bill de Blasio's office, told the city newspaper contact tracers will instead ask whether those tested are able to recall contacts and individuals that may have been exposed, Cohen told the newspaper, while requesting information on close contacts, including anyone within 6 feet or more than 10 for more than 10 minutes, even though this definition includes the hundreds of people an infected person likely crossed paths with during the crowded Black Lives Matter protests in recent weeks. Contact tracers will not be inquiring about their involvement. Wait, something just caught my attention here, including anyone within 6 feet for more than 10 minutes. Oh, well, this virus is very specific, isn't it? Oh, you weren't standing close. Oh, you were standing close to me for 9 minutes, so you're safe. But 1 more minute, and you would have had the virus. That's ridiculous. It's asinine, ludicrous. These people have the intelligence of gnats. Oh, wait. I really don't need to insult gnats. So any person has the opportunity to share this info over the course of their interview with the tracer, Cohen wrote in a tweet sent to the Federalist when asked for comment. Large anonymous environments where you may not be able to recall a close contact pose a natural challenge to tracing, which is why we're urging all New Yorkers to get tested. Yeah, they're probably, the tests from China that were, actually infected with the virus, so they were shoving it up people's noses and actually giving them the virus. Yeah, how do we know that the tests are okay? Do you think I would trust de Blasio or Cuomo? Not on your life, I wouldn't. So, there you go. And there's more, but I think we're okay with that. Of course, they're going to say that, oh yeah, it's spiking now, so we got to shut everything down again. I mean, unless you're protesting. Stay at home, unless you're protesting. Because oh, I'm sorry. That is my cat jumping on the, unfortunately, there's a window right here, which you can't see. And so they jump up to this table and then up to the window, and it jostles the mic, and it's probably loud. I haven't listened to it to be sure, but I'm quite certain it is. All right, let's go on because we can, and let's go to this. Okay, Albuquerque to start sending unarmed social workers on some 911 calls in the city. Well, I'm sure that will go well. No. Albuquerque, actually, I visited Albuquerque, and I must say, it was the most friendliest place one of the most friendliest places I've ever visited in my life. Really, they are the most friendly people. When I was in Albuquerque, I went on a walk from the hotel, and I was walking, and a lady stopped her car about, a block or so from me, and ran back and said, "You dropped an earring." I said, "What?" she said, I just happened to look over and notice your earring fell. And I looked back and yeah, my earring was back there. So I was like, well, thank you. Who does that? Anyway, yeah, they were just absolutely, it was the nicest city. It really was. But anyway, this is stupid. But that has nothing to do with the good people of Albuquerque. Albuquerque is going to start sending unarmed social workers on some 911 calls in the city. Mayor Tim Keller announced the civilian public safety branch on Monday, hours before Albuquerque police detained alleged members of an armed civilian group when a protest erupted in gunfire Monday. The mayor of New Mexico's largest city announced that unarmed social workers, not officers, would now respond to certain 911 calls. Yeah, let us know how that goes. I wouldn't. If I was a social worker, I would not respond. Not unarmed. Absolutely not. The decision came as Black Lives Matter advocates to defund police departments in the wake of the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man. Okay, we know all that. Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller announced that the city would create a first-of-its-kind cabinet-level department that would respond to calls on inebriation, homelessness, addiction, and mental health. Okay, I could see situations of homelessness. You don't need to send an officer to that. You really don't. Inebriation, it depends. Look what happened to the guy that fell asleep in the drive-through of Wendy's. You know, doesn't, just because they're inebriated doesn't mean that they're not going to be violent. And you know what? After looking further, and many people commented on this, and after looking further into this and really paying attention to the details, I do believe that cop was justified. Absolutely. So, yes, it possibly could have been handled in a different manner, but when you are in the heat of the moment, I mean, he did have a taser, and the taser could have rendered the cop absolutely, well, you know what happens when people get lasered. I mean, it seizes up your muscles, and I mean, not that I've ever been tasered, and I hope I never am. But, you know, so, and if that happened, he would have easily been able to get his service revolver. So, yeah, I do believe that it was justified. This guy was not lily white. I shouldn't say that, actually, because I'm not saying he wasn't lily white because he's black, and that could be construed that way. So I apologize. I shouldn't even say that. I meant like his soul wasn't lily white. I mean, it's like he had, you know, he was on probation already, and he didn't want to be caught because he would have gone back to jail because he was violating his probation. So, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyway, yeah. So what we were discussing here is that, you know, these are the types of calls: inebriation, homelessness. Now, I can totally see that. You don't need to send a cop for that, I don't think. Anyway, my laptop is overheating. Hang on here for a second. I need to get a cooling pad for it because it's tending to overheat a lot. I don't know why, but anyway. So, yeah, so inebriation, homelessness, addiction, and mental health. And it depends, because somebody that is mentally ill and off their medication, depending on what type of mental illness they have, can be very, very violent. So again, I don't know how wise this is. I don't think it's wise at all. And addiction, you know, people that are on different drugs act unpredictably. So, but I do believe that a lot of times, you know, people that are mentally ill or what have you end up getting shot unnecessarily because really it should have been somebody with some mental health training that responds. So I could see a social worker accompanying the police. I think that would be a much better idea. All right, well, let's get out of there and go back because there's more. Okay, let's look at this. Now, these are some older items that I had collected when I was unwell. And so some of them are a little bit older, but they're still really good. And I don't really see people covering them. So I think that I will go ahead with some of these and get them out to you. And let's just can't remember what this is about. Joe Biden announces campaign to censor Trump and other conservatives on Facebook. Well, of course he would want that, right? Because he wants only his view on there. He doesn't want the conservative. He doesn't want to give Trump, any more FaceTime than he gets already. I mean, this is so predictable, so transparent. These people are so easy to read. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden took to Twitter on Thursday to unveil a new campaign initiative titled Fix Facebook, Beat Trump. Now, this is a few days old. This is from the 12th, which is 4 days ago. And Biden began his Twitter thread by complaining that Facebook has failed to enact any real reforms to stop the spread of disinformation on its platform. Well, yeah, I guess that's true, or else Joe Biden wouldn't be on there, would he? He's just one big ball of disinformation. With less than 150 days until Election Day, the stakes couldn't be higher. We've got to fix Facebook to protect our democracy and ensure fair elections, he added. If you agree, sign the open letter today to demand Facebook take action. Yeah, right. I don't know. One of the tweets included a link on a page on a link to a page on Biden's campaign website that asked visitors to sign the letter demanding that Facebook change its policies to crack down on misinformation in ads and ensure a fair election. Well, he wouldn't know a fair election if it tap danced across his nose and knocked on his eyelids. As a school safety advocate and Republican Connecticut State Senate candidate J.T. Lewis pointed out, Biden's new slogan serves as the latest example that the left want to censor conservative voices, and they're not trying to hide it anymore. No, they're not. So while Biden said that all he wants is a fair election, he and many others on the left really want Facebook to tilt the playing field in their favor by censoring conservative voices. That's exactly right. Facebook continues to allow Donald Trump to say anything and to pay to ensure that his wild claims reach millions of voters, the open letter reads. That's an out-and-out lie. Nobody's censored more than Donald Trump. No one. Among other things, it calls for clear rules applied to everyone, including Donald Trump, that prohibit threatening behaviors and lies about how to participate in the election. No, actually what he means is he wants the rules only applied to Donald Trump and everyone else gets a free pass. That's what he means. Conservatives or anyone that supports Trump, let's censor them, get them off. And anybody that is on the left, well, they get a free pass. Isn't that how we've been playing for the last 4 years? And there's the train again. Although I'm sure it's probably a different train. Okay, well, let's go back. Oh yes, there's more. There's more. Now, I don't know. Now, this showed up. I don't know where it came from, but I'm going to show it to you. And it's from, apparently, it's from Antifa. And it says, you really effed us, poll. Now, that's, well, that's actually where Q started out. We organized this event like we've done a million effing times before. We followed the formula that we've used in Europe and the US for years, i.e. show up, F up, fascist faces, break some random shite, watch the right-wing tears. But this time was different and it's your effing fault. We didn't get slaps on the wrist. We didn't get lost in the crowd. We got effing rounded up and arrested. Now, some of us, like yours truly, got bailed out by our backers, but we have court dates and 10 effing years in jail for hundreds of us. This is effing insane. No, it's not. It's law and order. It's not fair. It's not effing fair. We're not fascists like you Fs. We're the good guys. Okay. Do good guys show up, break some faces, burn stuff down, F stuff up, like he said? Is that what good guys do? Really? Didn't know. You have no idea how much this is hurting us. F-ton of our young members are just checking out because guess effing what? They don't want to go to jail. Oh, so I see. You're complaining because you want to go and burn down buildings and loot and break everyone's windows and beat people to death. You want to do that, but you don't want to go to jail. Oh. Ooh, I don't want to go to jail. I know I burned down places and stuff, but they told me to. These people they've checked out, really. They've checked out. I don't know what planet they're operating on, but I don't even know what universe they're on. Well, let's go on, shall we? And sorry for the salty language. I used F instead of the word, but it's still, can't imagine. People with very small minds use vocabulary like that. And you know why? Because they can't think of any words to replace it, because their vocabulary is very small. Let's go here. Okay, and let's look at this. It says we are supposed to believe Trump rallies are dangerous when this was Philly a couple of days ago. Take your totally overblown virus with a $20 cure and shove it up your A. We, the people, have had it with you traitors. I meant the left. And look at this. This is Philly. I'm trying to, it's a GIF. I can't blow it up any further, but look at those people. But a Trump rally's dangerous. Right. Oops, where'd I go here? There I am. All right. Oh yes, and the New York Post is claiming that the end of the world is next week, which actually is this week, because that was on 6/13. So I guess, it's supposed to be the end of the world. They're saying the alternative reading of Mayan calendar suggests end of the world is next week. This was June 13th. So, well, we've only got, today's Tuesday. 3 more days? 4? 5? Do I believe this? No. Do you? If you thought COVID-19, civil unrest, locusts, volcanic eruptions, and hurricanes signaled Armageddon, you may be right. The reading of the Mayan calendar was wrong, according to a conspiracy theory on Twitter, and while the world didn't end on December 21st, 2012, as originally prophesied by calendar readers, Mayan doomsday is sometime this week or next. Following the Julian calendar, we are technically in 2012. The number of days lost in a year due to the shift in Gregorian calendar is 11 days. For 268 years using the Gregorian calendar, 1752 to 2020 times 11 days equals 2,948 days. 2,948 days divided by 365 days per year equals 8 years. Scientist Paulo Tegolquin, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name correctly, tweeted last week, according to The Sun, the series of tweets has since been deleted. Can't imagine why. If Tegolquin is correct, adding up all the missing days, then the Mayan doomsday date is, well, this week. In 2012, gee, I thought I was having a bad week last week. Gee, it'd be really a bad week if the world ends. 2012 doomsday, and of course, that's not how the world ends, but anyway. 2012, doomsday theorists were convinced the world was ending on December 21st, and hordes of believers flocked to Mayan sites in Mexico and Guatemala, only to be left disappointed and dirty due to lack of sanitation at ancient Mayan pyramids. Well, there you go. There you go. Just shaking my head. I guess it was a slow news day that day. Okay, let's go on now, shall we? Sure we shall. It's 11:40 if you're on medication. But you know what? I can go more. I can go a bit longer. So let's try and, get some of this news out. Okay, now, Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. This is from June 13th, so 4 days ago, but still viable. Didn't see this in the news. An entire SWAT team in Hollandale Beach, Florida, resigned on Friday in response to Police Chief Sonia Quinones kneeling with Black Lives Matter protests. So the police chief kneeled and the SWAT team up and left. Can't blame them. They're out there risking their lives. The police chief scheduled a meeting for Monday with the officers who resigned to hear their complaints. In a memo, the SWAT officers said in addition to being undertrained and minimally equipped, they were outraged to see the police chief kneeling with political activists. The team is minimally equipped, undertrained, and oftentimes restrained by the politicization of our tactics to the extent of placing safety of dogs over the safety of the team members, the officer wrote. So there you go. I can't blame them. Lastly, and most shockingly, having members of the command staff taking a knee in solidarity with Vice Mayor Javellana, who stated she wants the officers fired and charged, and a handful of political activists, the officers wrote in a memo. The 10 members of the Hollandale Police Department SWAT team have stepped down from their roles, citing among other grievances, anger over the city's police chief kneeling. Okay, that's just going over the same thing. The risk of carrying out our duties in this capacity is no longer acceptable to us and our families, the memo says. The anguish and stress of knowing what we may be lawfully called upon to do in today's political climate, combined with the team's current situation and several recent local events, leaves us in a position that is untenable. According to the Miami Herald, SWAT officers from other local police agencies will fill in to help Hollandale Beach. This is just the beginning. More and more police officers will resign and cities will crumble under chaos and violence. Well, yes, without law and order, they most certainly will. And let's go down. Now, this is interesting. Okay, well, let's look at this one first. From a friend, it just dawned on me the most glaring component of the Floyd psyop. It was filmed before COVID-19. How do I know? Not a single person is wearing a mask. Not one of the cops, not Floyd, not his passenger, not the market people, not the bystanders. Don't you think a police department would have a mask mandate? I watched the mayor and all the other press conferences and everyone is wearing a mask. Now, I never thought of that, but gosh darn it, it's pretty darn interesting if you ask me. That could be. It could very well be, because there's so many anomalies in that whole situation that it's absolutely, there's gaping inconsistencies. And let's look at this. In 1933, Hitler appointed Hermann Göring Minister of the Interior. His first orders were to defund and eliminate police departments so that they would not interfere with his brown shirts, whose mission it was to riot, burn, beat up, and kill citizens in an effort to sway the elections. Let me read that again. In 1933, Hitler appointed Hermann Göring Minister of the Interior. His first orders were to defund and eliminate police departments. Why? So that they wouldn't interfere with his brown shirts, whose mission it was to riot, burn, beat up, and kill citizens in an effort to sway the elections. I think that speaks for itself, don't you? And let's look at this. Actually, I think we've already looked at that. The Project Veritas Antifa video, I think we have. Maybe we haven't. I don't know. I can't remember everything. Soros and Steyer exposed as backers of paramilitary left-wing group in undercover Project Veritas video. I don't think we've looked at this before. If we have, then forgive me. But Isn't that interesting? Soros and Steyer exposed as backers of paramilitary left-wing group in undercover Project Veritas video. So I'm not going to play all this, but it's interesting. As a part of a series of undercover videos exposing left-wing organizations like Antifa, Project Veritas released footage claiming to show far-left Democrat activists bragging about George Soros' funding and political connections. Tom Steyer, who, I'm sorry, Sammy, get down. Let me see now. Tom Steyer, who unsuccessfully campaigned for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination for 2020, and liberal financier George Soros are both named as financial contributors in the new clip on Refuse Fascism, an organization dedicated to removing President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence from office. Andy Z, national organizer for the group, mentions during the 7-minute video that Steyer may not want to be directly connected to the group because he has political ambitions that may be hurt by such a relationship. But Z says the group is in communication with Steyer's assistant and main advisor on impeachment. So Antifa fight instructor tells prospective riders how to cause crippling pain in victims in Project Veritas expose video. Nice people, aren't they? Z also mentioned that past employees of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign have also been involved in the group. T. Stern, head of the group's Atlanta chapter, is seen eating dinner with undercover Veritas reporters at another point and reveals the group received a grant from controversial billionaire Soros. Silicon Valley is also mentioned as a major source of income for the group. Stern later makes repeated calls for thousands of people, then millions, to come into the streets and act as a disruptive force until the president is made to leave office. Yeah. And it says breaking George Soros and Tom Steyer named as financial supporters of Refuse Fascism national organizers. We did get a grant from Soros. We're trying to meet with Tom Steyer, has political ambitions, does not want to be directly connected to Antifa. Yeah, I bet he doesn't. The video is a third part in a series from Veritas meant to expose left-wing organizations like Refuse Fascism and Antifa groups that are behind or are part of many of the ongoing protests across the U.S. Refuse Fascism is a group gaining more and more attention from conservatives. Author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza described them as part of a left-wing paramilitary force this week. And here they are saying, practice the eye gouge. Veritas claim to have infiltrated Antifa will expose its violent nature. And I think we're all quite aware of the violent nature, but Project Veritas did break that. They really do good work. They really do. So there you go. And let's do a couple more because we can, right? All right. And let's look at this. All right, this is very, very interesting. Well, I think it is. If you make $50,000 per year, this is what you pay. Okay, you pay like $50,000 a year. In a year's time, this is what you'll pay: $247 for defense. Okay, I'm fine with that. Are you? I mean, we need to pay for our defense. It's very important, and $247. I'd be okay with that. $4 for FEMA. Well, I don't always agree with what FEMA does, but $4, yeah, okay. $22 for unemployment insurance. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. $37 for food stamps. Yeah, because, you know, there are people that deserve food stamps. They're down on their luck or whatever, and yeah, I'm okay with that. $7 for welfare. Well, there's people that can't work for one reason or another, and I do believe that there should be welfare. I think that there are people on it unnecessarily, but for the most part, I think that we should have welfare because there are people that deserve it. Oh, so I'm okay with that. $235 for Medicare. Well, there are people that Medicare is is it Medicaid or, okay, Medicare is for the seniors and disabled people. Okay, I'm okay with that. Absolutely, we got to take care of our seniors. $4,000 for corporate subsidies. Wait, what's that? 4,000 for corporate subsidies? No, I'm not okay with that. Are you? These corporations have a heck of a lot more than $50,000 in a year, and of course, that's not your take-home pay. Your take-home pay is much less than that. You got to pay your taxes, but $4,000 is coming out of my check for corporate subsidies? Are you kidding me? And whoever did this little thing is asking, are you sure you're, well, I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to say, are you sure you're ticked off at the right people? Wake up. And this, $22 for unemployment insurance, $37 for food stamps. And it says, this ticks you off, but this doesn't? $4,000 for corporate subsidies? You know, we're always talking about, oh yeah, you know, we got to get people off food stamps and unemployment insurance, and everybody argues about stuff like that. But, and even welfare, even though we're only paying $7 in a whole year for welfare, and Medicare, I'm okay with that. You know, the elderly people need to be taken care of, and so do the disabled. I'm fine with that. 4,000. No, I'm not okay with that, because if you're like me, I'm thinking, now I don't have a family per se. It's just me. I'm, you know, my parents are at a different residence, and I do what I can for them, get their groceries and do things that I need to do for their care. But I think I could make better use of that $4,000 than these corporations could. I'm just saying. So yeah, that ticks me off. Why are we just hearing about this now? Did you know? Did you know that much of your check is going to corporate subsidies? Well, now you do. All right, let's go on. Okay. Yeah, Twitter took this tweet down from someone else because CNN got busted. Oh, yes, I remember what this is. This is awful. CNN got caught. They lightened the photo of the man that drove into protesters in Seattle to make him appear white. When will you guys realize it's us versus the media? They want a race war, and they do. Look at this. This man is clearly black. Clearly. And here they've lightened him. He looks very, very white in that picture. CNN, shame on you. Shame on you. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting and totally unacceptable. Totally. CNN is like watching not even a reality TV show, because they're not based in reality whatsoever. It's like watching pure fiction. Yeah. Now you know. For those people that say, I don't know why Donald Trump's always saying that the media is the enemy. They're not the enemy. Oh, really? Well, then I guess the people that say that aren't paying attention. Now, this we've already covered about the contact tracers. If they've not being able to ask if the person has attended a protest. Now, there's all this down here, but I think this is really old, and I am quite certain it is. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to erase that, and that's old too, so we already covered that. And I don't know what this is, but let's take a look. No. But it's from February 13th, so I don't know. I don't know where this came from. Follow the white bunny. what is this? It shouldn't be politically incorrect to denounce an organization which employs rapists, exploits children as young as 10 in sexual ways, advocates for pedophilia as sexual preference, and has been nothing but a venerable carousel of women's exploitation for decades, yet say anything. Oh, this is about Playboy. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. You know what I mean? Look at how long this is. And it's kind of out of the flow of what we've been covering. So I think I'm going to end it there. And I think we've covered a pile of news tonight. So there you go. Now, Q has not posted. We are up to date with the Q posts. And I will be back tomorrow. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. I'll be back tomorrow with more news. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. And please keep seeking truth, because deception, well, as I always say, it bites. Good night, guys.